Today's episode of Desertwood Days with Kathy Blaze is sponsored by the $1 Million Teacher Project, where we support students by supporting teachers. To find out more, visit www.milliondollarteacherproject.org.
Welcome back to Desertwood Days. I'm your host, Kathy Blaze. We have a very special guest for you today. Businessman, entrepreneur, educator, all around town, just a professional out there. Let's welcome Mr. Lloyd Hopkins. Hey there.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
I'm excited to be here. Handshakes.
Yes. How have you been?
I am fantastic. I'm excited to be in your house. This is amazing.
Happy to have you here on the couch with us today.
Yeah.
Support educators at MDT Project. Love that.
Yeah. A lot of my work today is fueled by empowering the community to take ownership of the education system, right?
Yes.
That I believe education is the great equalizer. And if we're really trying to empower a community, if you want to really give a community the tools to take control of their prosperity and their own destiny, it starts with education.
Yes.
And so my work revolves around that with a teacher focus, because I think teachers are the center of that equation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? As we were stating earlier, each of us is a teacher.
Yeah.
We're teaching in some way, some different form.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, when I first met you, you were Mr. Atlas.
Yeah. Still,
AKA Atlas.
Yeah. Still Atlas, now more doing stuff behind the scenes, but certainly, yeah.
So when I met you, you were, I believe you were, I don't know if you're managing talent or helping them with their artistry.
Yeah. We met through my guy, Lawyer Johnson, right? Yeah.
Yes. And we had Mr. Johnson here season 1 on that couch.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, not on that couch. That's a new couch.
On a couch.
On a couch.
On a couch. Yeah.
So, Lloyd, what was it? I know you're new here. Well, you're not new. You've been here for quite a few
30 years. Yeah.
But what was it that got you in this industry of the music?
Yeah. You know what? I like to say all the time, my neighborhood inspired me. I grew up on the west side of Phoenix, came from Maryville.
Oh, yeah.
And even to this day, my ties to that community, my affinity for my neighborhood, drives so much of the work that I do. For kids like me that didn't necessarily grow up with any real positive adult role models. I had my mom raising 3 boys on her own, doing her best to try to provide us a life and keep a roof over our head. I spent the majority of my time learning from the community, learning from my peers, which was dangerous at times because we all kids and kids don't know nothing, you know what I'm saying?
True.
And so you're learning you're learning some bad habits, but you're also learning things about yourself. You're learning about how resilient you are. And so what I'll say is that it was the environment that I came from and my desire to speak for that community, my desire to empower that community led me into music and also led me into the nonprofit work that I do, because I wanted to be the change that I wanted to see in the world. I didn't really have, like I said, I didn't have an adult that took me under their wing outside of my mama, and she did what she could. But I didn't have that, and so I wanted to be that for kids.
So you're being that for kids.
Yeah, and I also wanted to be that for my peer group. Like Biggie had a line in one of his songs that said, "You either sell crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot," right? like for kids at a certain area, and I'll say before like Obama got in the office, right? There was a ceiling. There's often a ceiling on who we believe we can be, you know, and what we think is real for us in a reality, and so we gravitate towards sports or we gravitate towards music often. And so when my hoop dreams started fading, because at first I wanted to be Michael Jordan, and when I realized I wasn't going to be Michael Jordan, you know, I had to figure out another pathway to salvation. And that's where music came from. Let me stop you right
there. And that's because this is a project that I was happy to, honored to be a part of, this book with co-authored this book that spoke about how we made it here.
Yeah.
And that is one thing that I learned, that, you know what, our ancestors, our elders, when they all migrated here to Arizona, they migrated to certain areas.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Maryville.
Yeah.
And before that, it was everything that was below, say, Van Buren.
South Phoenix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is, say, from, they call it the east side. My mom used to call it the east side. We used to go to the east side and party from 16th Street on to the avenues. And that's where we migrated to those areas. And if you think back, music was such a big part, a big part of their salvation, big part of their happiness, their health and everything. Music was good for their soul. So when there was a hard time at work, a hard time with finances, family, where did they turn to? Music. I remember in my household growing up, there's always music playing. So to have someone in your role, musicians or people that are constantly teaching the children and helping them to push them to this, that's a blessing.
Yeah, and music is, you know, and musicians, especially in hip hop, we're often the reporters for our community. And what we're really trying to talk about or bring awareness to is our condition, the circumstance that's impacting us, the things that are oppressing us, or what our aspirations and dreams are. And often through music is how I've learned to interpret life, you know, and people underestimate the power of a bar, especially like in hip hop music. I think often it's not fully appreciated for the complexity that it takes to really tell a story that rhymes, that's realistic, and put it to music in a way that you can receive it and dance to it and lose yourself in it. It's such a beautiful art form, and it was the one that I chose as a vehicle to try to, you know, I wanted to participate. It still inspires me to this day. You know, I still, even when I'm working, sitting at my desk, I have to have some music playing, you know, because it's a soundtrack to your life. It marks moments,
is.
You know.
And, you know, for some specific types of music may seem as if, oh, this is too harsh, or is this, but, you know, as you stated, a lot of times, it's what their life is about. It's what they see in their neighborhoods and their communities. So what may seem harsh and vulgar or whatever to you, well, that's life. It's what they see. It's what's going on in our world, and you ought to want to know about it. I mean, because that's the only way we can fix things is by putting it out there and telling the story, as we say.
If you don't want harsh music, do what's necessary to deal with the harsh environments, you know, and that and
not try to shut it down.
You know, like that means you have to look at how politics are adversely affecting those communities. You have to look at how wage discrepancies, how the prison industrial complex is breaking families apart, where fathers and mothers aren't incarcerated and through really excessive sentencing sometimes, you know, like all of those things. And then you have children that are affected by that. And those children become those musicians, and they're going to tell those stories. So what do you
Or
have?
they
What do you
become,
expect?
or they become that statistic
Right?
if we're not teaching them before they get to that point in their
100%.
life, because they're living that and they're seeing it every day.
Yeah.
So we have to teach them.
Yeah.
So I love what you're doing as an educator,
Yeah.
as someone that works behind the scenes with the music.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about music, it's about life.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we tend to forget is music is life.
Yeah.
So Lloyd, we were speaking about you working behind the scenes, working with musicians and being an educator.
Yeah.
And as far as being an educator, you are now you have a nonprofit that
Yeah.
you've started.
Yeah.
Can you what is the name of your nonprofit?
Yeah, $1 Million Teacher Project. And really kind of how the story plays out for me is that, you know, I was a performing rap artist out here in Arizona for about 15 years in the Valley, right? And I ran my own launched my own entertainment company back in 2001, Fire Flock Entertainment. And that's where Lawyer and I connected. He used to help me run my label, and we would put out acts and we would put out music. And then really I got to a point where I really kind of got exhausted on the pursuit of being an artist and in the journey of trying to keep up with appearances of what it means to be a successful artist and all that kind of stuff. And I had to really revisit and get in touch with myself and really what was important to me.
Right.
And what I realized is that the reason I was doing music is really because I was trying to empower people. I was really trying to impact my neighborhood. I was really just trying to make a difference in the world. And I thought the only way to do that was from me being like a celebrity, a big artist, got to be a millionaire. And then I realized that everyday people can make a difference. Everyday people can impact. It's just about you committing to a cause and doing the work every day. So I took that energy that I put into music and running my entertainment company to launch $1 Million Teacher Project, which I launched in 2016.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And what our mission is to elevate the teaching profession through increased support, compensation, and recognition. What we do is we partner with Title I schools and marginalized communities on creating community-centered programming to help them increase how their teachers are recognized, drive more support directly into their classrooms, and create innovative ways to impact how their teachers are compensated. And we were kind of talking about this earlier, and I do this because I think, again, education is the great equalizer. If you really want to give people the tools for their own freedom, you really want to give people the tools for their own salvation, it starts with education. And I believe schools should be community centers. There should be activity. When you go into a school campus, you should see the community present on that campus,
but
above and beyond academic hours.
Let me stop you right there. And that is something, if you go back, say, 15 years, that's what you used to see in the school district. But as things change, certain neighborhoods, things were taken away. So you don't see that anymore. I mean, if there's things that a child needs, say to be in sports or music, learning an instrument, parents have to go outside of school to get them into those types of programs. But what happens to those parents that can't afford for their children to go get private lessons or to be on a Pop Warner team, or I don't know if those are still funded or whatever. But what happens to those children that can't? Then they're caught up in that environment we were talking about earlier. Because they're not having those positive outlets.
And most of the time, if you don't give kids something to do, they're going to find something to do, and it's probably not going to be something you want them to do 9 times out of 10.
That is true.
And so our approach is that we want to help schools be centers of connectivity between the community, and we create that from the classroom out. So we bring support and resources directly into the classroom. We elevate teachers to be community leaders in their community, and then we help create those bridges and pathways for involvement. Because what I understand is not everybody is a social entrepreneur and going to go out and create an organization.
Right.
But what I do believe is everybody innately wants to make a difference in their community in
Right.
some shape, form, or
Right.
fashion. You just have to make it easy access for
That's
that to happen.
So how's your response to this?
Yeah. So you mean in regards to what type of how we approach it, or
No, the
to the
acceptance
work?
from the schools.
Oh yeah. I mean, we have a list of schools looking to partner. We're trying to build our capacity and fundraise right now,
Okay.
so we can be statewide. We just recently received a tremendous investment from the Arizona's Department of Education. That's helped us to start investing some staffing, so we can really start growing
Right.
and expanding our work statewide. So the response has been amazing.
What can your community do to help you guys with this, to help to expand this?
Yeah, so
Because
first,
you need to have the community involvement.
so there are a couple things that I think are essential if you're trying to change the world. And so the first thing is I want whoever's watching this to understand it is possible to change the world in our lifetime. So that's the first thing. We have to know that change is possible and big change is possible. And what I always point out is things that have changed the world in our lifetime already. Things like Facebook, things like Instagram. These things didn't exist when I were a kid.
Right.
And now they are a part of how we socialize, how we
Yeah.
communicate. Google is a verb, you know, and we used to have to look at encyclopedias, you know, and so now it's
talk shows like this.
The
Yes.
world, these are things that have changed in our lifetime. So we apply this same approach to the work we do with education.
Yes.
And I believe the equation is that your solution, you have to just hone in on the right solution, and it has to be community driven, cost effective, and easy access. So first we put it on your mind that it's important to support teachers. Then we create the ways for you to get involved. So you can either volunteer in one of our programs. So we do things like Take a Teacher to Lunch, where we bring lunch celebrations on the school campuses. You can come out, volunteer, help us with a lunch. If you run a restaurant, you can always donate. What I like people to understand is that more so what anybody working in the community needs than a pat on the back is your investment. Because if there's any type of work that you care about, whether it's teachers, it's the trees, it's kids, the people that are doing the work to impact that have to still be able to sustain a life, you know, because if they can't sustain a life, that work is going to go away. And so what they need more than anything, and what we need more than anything, is your investment. So we're always we're always looking at ways to engage donors, provide people opportunities to support the work, and also come out and get involved. You know, right now we're doing a classroom supply drive because teachers on average spend about $1,000 of their own money on classroom supplies, which is an expense they shouldn't have to incur to shape our future. We make them go into their own pocket. So we involve the community in that solution by doing these drives.
What are some of the things that you guys do for fundraising for these types of things?
Yeah, so we do fundraisers through at different points throughout the year. So we do things like we participate in Arizona Gives Day. We participate in Giving Tuesday. Giving Tuesday, I believe, is in November. Arizona Gives Day takes place in April. We do a big annual fundraiser. We're doing one this year in partnership with the Children's Museum called the Adult Field Trip, where we're putting adults back into the space of remember what it was like to be a kid again and how important teachers are.
So with you coming from the music industry, do you bring the two together at any point?
So hip hop is still very much a part of how I approach my work with $1 Million Teacher Project. That's where I really honed my entrepreneurial skill. And so one thing we do is we partner with a couple other organizations. One of our fundraisers is a talent show that we do called Education Dedication, where we'll bring comedians, or we'll bring artists and acts on the stage to perform and help raise money for a good cause and help us do more for schools.
So where'd the name come from?
$1 Million Teacher Project. First and foremost, I was like, this has to be big. We got to do something big. It can't be $1,000, couple dollar teacher project. Like, no, we gotta We want to be audacious. And really what our goal is we want to make teachers feel like $1 million, you know, and change the culture around how teachers view themselves and how the community
make a huge
views
impact.
teachers. Yeah.
That is all, because you know what, those schools that you're mentioning are the schools that really need to be impacted.
Yeah.
So where can our audience find you?
Yeah, so they can find us online. We're on all social media platforms. You see it here on the shirt at MDT Project. On all social media platforms, or you can visit us at our website at milliondollarteacherproject.org. You can visit us on YouTube. We got podcasts and a couple different other things people can access. So you can find us online.
Okay, and your next project is your fundraiser.
Yeah. Okay. So that's taking place July 29th at the Children's Museum of Phoenix.
Okay.
And it's called the Adult Field Trip.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us here today. It was such a pleasure to hear all about your project and all about Atlas.
Yeah.
Can't forget about Atlas.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us here today on Desertwood Days, and we'll catch you next time.